Shalom, shalom. I'm gonna go over modern versus biblical Hebrew. And what is biblical Hebrew? Biblical Hebrew, or classical Hebrew, is within the Bible, the Hebrew that's within the Bible. Most people don't know that biblical Hebrew went through different phases. There's the archaic, there's the classical, and there's late. Okay? So if you look here, there is the Torah, Nevi'im, and Kesuvim. Okay? Torah are the laws, Nevi'im are the prophets, and Kesuvim is what is written, or sometimes known as writings. Within the Torah, you have one particular type of language that's used. Nevi'im, same thing, and Kesuvim, same thing. So if you go through Tehillim and Mishle, and Tehillim are Psalms, Mishle are Proverbs. So if you go through those two books, you'll see that that type of Hebrew, that type of language, is more flowery, it's more sweet, it's different than, let's say, that of Torah, right? So you have to understand that you can't really lump everything together within the Bible, the Hebrew within the Bible. One is prose, one could be poetry, which is, prose is everyday talk. So that's pretty much what biblical Hebrew is. There's a few more points that I would like to address though. So within biblical Hebrew, you also have to remember that because of the captivities that our foreparents were in, we've adopted certain words that are from Arabic, Canaanite. Remember, we took over the letters, the Canaanite letters, Akkadian, Persian, Egyptian, and Aramaic seeped in as well. So biblical Hebrew is made up of all those languages as well. It's few in number, okay? It's few in number. You can spot it. When you get more advanced, you can spot what's what. Okay? And biblical Hebrew is also known as either Lashon HaKodesh or Lashon HaKodesh, not HaKodesh. It's HaKodesh, accent on the Kof, okay? HaKodesh, which is, this is tongue of the holiness or holy thing. Kodesh is not holy. Kazosh is the adjective holy. Kodesh is the noun. Okay? There's a difference. On to the next question. What is modern Hebrew? Modern Hebrew, also known as Ivrit Yisraeli. And the reason why it's Yisraeli, it's because the occupiers that are occupying Yisrael are known as Yisraeli. Okay? Any person that is within a land, that land is now named after those people or that person, right? So you have Canaan, right? Canaan, which is Canaan. Those people who are within that land are named Canaani. Mitzrayim, for Egypt, those people, feminine, will be Misrith, Misriot, and male, masculine, will be Misrim. Misrim, okay? Misrim. So that's the reason why. Now, modern Hebrew has a European syntax, and syntax is the structure of the language, right? Biblical Hebrew is different in syntax. It's more Shemitic. Okay, so it uses Hebrew from classical, biblical Hebrew, Mishnaic Hebrew, medieval Hebrew, late Hebrew, Talmudic Hebrew, and yes, I know, very concerning. Talmudic Hebrew is easy to spot once you become advanced. When you're in the beginning, you don't know. And again, they wouldn't use it in the beginning. When you read books, they wouldn't use it in the beginning. When you become more advanced, then you'll see it. You'll know it. The best way of knowing is if you have a lexicon, a etymological dictionary, then you'll be able to spot and you'll pick up on it. Okay? Now, yes, modern Hebrew differs in classical or biblical Hebrew in syntax, and what I mean by that is I'll give you an example. Let's see. Now, within biblical Hebrew, there are no tenses. There's none. What we call tenses: present, past, future. None of that. It's more dealing with what's complete and what's incomplete. Okay. Now, we know within European languages, such as English, if you speak English, there's tenses. So the boy is going, the boy had went, and the boy will go, right? Now, within biblical Hebrew, it's not so simple, okay? I'll give you a quick example of it. Oily. There are many differences with biblical Hebrew and modern Hebrew, but again, when it comes to certain verbs, you'll see or hear the difference real easy. So with biblical Hebrew, when one wants to say that I love, I like, I hate, I want, verbs of thought and feeling, they're what we know in European languages as the past tense. In Shemitic languages, we know it as completed or perfect state, right? So if I want to say I love, it will sound like I loved, and I'm no longer loving the person. But that's not the case. So we'll get an example here. So ahavti, I love. Sanasi, I hate. Chafasti, I want or desire. And chashafti, and that is I think, right? So this is biblical Hebrew, how one would say that. Modern Hebrew, now especially when you listen to certain love songs, you listen to certain songs, it would not be in this unless it's old, like oldies. Let's see. So in modern Hebrew, one would use the infinitive of the biblical Hebrew, right? So again, remember, modern Hebrew incorporates biblical Hebrew. Majority of it is from biblical and Mishnaic Hebrew. Okay, so you have ohev and oheveth. Ohev, oheveth. Modern Hebrew, the pronunciation is ohevet. And frankly, even ohev might be ohev. The all sounds the same. Okay, all sound the same. You have a sonnet soneth. Modern, sonnet and sonnet, or sonnet and sonnet. Okay, it depends. Now you'll find the pronoun in the beginning, ani, ata, him, and then him will be ohavim, okay, because it needs to be pluralized, okay. Within the Hebrew, period, it needs to be either feminine or masculine or both. It could be both, plural or singular. And that's another feat. Hebrew gets complicated. Biblical Hebrew used to be more about sound. Now it's been watered down, and things are more flattened out to be easier for people to either say, read, or understand. Okay, now let's go back here. You do not have the pronoun in the beginning. You do not have the pronoun at the end. You already have it attached to the verb. T or thi is it's because of I. It means I. Okay, so you have T and thi. You have the base, which is ahav, and that means he, past tense, or so-called past tense, or completed. Then you have T or thi, and that indicates that is me, you, or whatever. T, then you have ta or t, and so on and so forth. Okay, the only time that you'll have a pronoun in the beginning, it's to show emphasis. I am the one who love will be ani ahavti. I am the one who hate, it'll be ani sanathi. Okay, but that's few in number. Now, is modern Hebrew Yiddish? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now, this is a hot topic even amongst the occupiers of Eretz Israel. It's really hot, okay? I'll give you... I'll tell you this. Modern Hebrew is not Yiddish. Now, it has a few Yiddish words, but it is not Yiddish. Yiddish is a Slavic or Germanic language that has nothing to do with Hebrew. Yiddish uses Hebrew letters and some Hebrew words, but its base is not upon the roots, or what we know as shoresh within Hebrew. Yiddish has nothing to do with that. Anyone who says Hebrew is Yiddish, period, they don't know what they're talking about. They're usually regurgitating something that they've heard, and they do not speak Yiddish, so they do not know. I speak Hebrew, both biblical and modern. It has nothing to do with Hebrew. Of course, the occupiers they're coming from Russia and Germany. Yes, they do speak some Yiddish, and that has seeped in, of course. You have ananas, which is a Yiddish word, and since pineapple is not native to Israel, they use that word. And there are a few more, but again, I don't want to confuse and bog you down, but I'll go through whatever word that is Yiddish, I would say. Trust me, there are very few. And usually there would be an idiom. It'll be an idiom and not a complete word. It'll be an idiom. And if you guys don't know what an idiom is, please look it up. It's like a saying. Raining cats and dogs. That's an idiom. Okay? Pick up your face. Why has your face fallen? That's an idiom. Okay? So those usually are Yiddish. Okay? I speak a few languages. I won't say which ones I speak, but I speak a few languages, and with languages, you have to be very careful of listening to what everyone says. You do your research. Don't take my word for it. Do your research, and you'll figure out Biblical Hebrew has no Yiddish words. However, even within Biblical Hebrew, you know that because we dealt with other nations, as we all had to, we traded, we were enslaved, some words were taken and we have them within the Bible. But you will know, because they have no root that is Hebrew. Okay? Some people say that kise, you have the kise, the means in modern Hebrew it means chair. In biblical it means throne. Okay? That might or might not have been Hebrew. It might have been Akkadian, because it has no root. Again, that is just how it is. So modern Hebrew, yes, you have majority of them, the occupiers, are European. So of course they're gonna have European words. You have America. That's not a Hebrew word, but that's how you say America in Hebrew. Same thing when you read Haberit HaChadasha, when you have the Haberit HaChadasha, you will see that the word for sandal is sandal. That is not a Hebrew word. That is a Greek word. So just make sure that the people you're listening to, you know that they speak more than one language. Okay? Either they speak, and other than Spanish, because if they're in America, other than Spanish, either they speak German, they speak Arabic, they speak Asian. It's harder when you study different languages and you study it from the bottom up, and I don't mean from as a native per se. That person starts to know or starts to see differences within the languages. Because I can speak Arabic, and then I'm not sure how to translate it to English. I'm not sure how to like if you're speaking to a native American, and I don't mean native as in Indian, I mean someone who grew up in America, you ask them certain questions about a language and they would not know. They just won't. The same thing when you ask someone who speaks Chinese or Japanese, they may not know. Those things you learn when you're young and you forget it. It becomes part of you. So it's like, I don't need it. But when that person becomes more structured and they go back to school and they, learn from the bottom what the etymology of a language or what of a word, then you understand. Those people you should, trust a bit more. Do your research, but, trust a bit more.